I am not a person who loves and accepts myself unconditionally every moment of every day. Rather, I am the type of person who has to actively challenge the negative self-talk that I am so used to. I have to constantly remind myself not to self-destruct, not to self-sabotage, and I know I'm not the only person like this. I think everyone hates themselves. At least parts of themselves, at least a little. And can we be blamed? Competition is hardwired into our DNA. We easily identify flaws, dwell on failures, emphasize weaknesses. We think we deserve the bad things that happen to us. I have to constantly remind myself that I am worthy of the most basic things, like love, latitude, acceptance by others, acceptance from myself. So what does this abstract concept of justice have to do with this inherent toxicity that I hold within myself? Let me start by broadening your understanding of justice. Like me, when you first consider justice, you probably think about the criminal justice system, social justice, and morality. We often understand justice in the context of what others are owed by us, by society. But justice is tied to far more than the law, religion, and government. There is far more to justice than maintaining what is right and good for others. One aspect of justice that is often ignored, but shouldn't be, is the justice we do for ourselves as individuals. So reconceptualizing our relationship with ourselves through a lens of justice makes the process of self-empathy easier. Why? Narratives of self-love and self-acceptance can only go so far. They necessitate the adoption of a completely foreign mindset, one that contradicts the notions of comparison and perfection that we learn early on. Justice, on the other hand, already exists within our minds. We understand justice. Fighting for justice makes sense to us. It is a noble endeavor that we are taught to pursue or respect. So reconceptualizing our relationships with ourselves through a lens of justice makes the process of self-love easier. And this, in turn, makes our lives better. Let me explain. From the time we are very young, we learn about justice. Elementary school classrooms emphasize the value of fairness, which underlies understandings of justice. Preschoolers learn to take turns. They learn to share. Even as children, we understand that some behavior is morally good and right, and other behavior, like lying, cheating, stealing, isn't. This is what we learn. There's no unit in school or chapter out of a parenting handbook called justice, but nevertheless, we view the world through a lens of justice. Good people die young. Innocent people go to jail. Some people work hard and still end up behind. Where's the justice in any of that? I won't try to answer that question, but I will emphasize that here we understand when injustices are being done. Even in our daily lives, this framework of justice shows up. When I see an entire plate of food go to waste, I think, that's not right. When a friend gets a low score on an exam they spent days studying for, I think, that's not fair. So if I can easily distinguish what is just and what is unjust when I look at the outside world, why can't I make these distinctions when it comes to myself? For the longest time, I believed that I was unworthy of the most basic things, like love, latitude, and empathy. I grew up with parents who always supported me, but masked their emotionally abusive tendencies behind good intentions. So I learned to be hard on myself. I doubted myself, took things very personally, believed everything was my fault, and I thought this was normal. Breaking myself down, criticizing everything, having a toxic relationship with myself. I was self-destructive, and I thought this was okay. It is hard. to unlearn the things we've thought about ourselves for years. I grew up, entered college, started and ended relationships believing that in order to grow, to succeed, to do better, to be better, I had to internalize toxic ideas about myself. But this cycle needs to be broken not only in myself, but in everyone. So reconceptualizing how we view about ourselves through a lens of justice puts us on the same plane as the people who we believe are worthy of justice. Continuing to devalue ourselves, our worth, our needs, and our contributions is a gross injustice. So we need to view the justice we owe to ourselves the same way we view the justice we owe to others, society, the environment, the world, the future. So we need to be just with ourselves. Be fair, be gentle, allow ourselves to make mistakes, to give and receive love, not only from others, but from ourselves. I know it is hard, but when we re-understand our relationships with ourselves through a lens of justice, we learn to treat ourselves better. We understand that we deserve better. We believe in justice for others. So shouldn't we believe in justice for ourselves?